And we're back. How long has it been? I don't even know. Season 8 took even longer than Season 7 did. And I still remember when we were trying to figure out if Winds of Winter would be out before Season 7 was. But alright. So we have a whole bunch of dark stuff going on. And we have the battle between living and the dead, light and darkness. Oh yeah, and this bitch is still alive. So I did a video last week thinking about all the things that could happen, but let's see what did. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing episode 1 of season 1. Or, yeah, of season 1, of season 8 of Game of Thrones. Alright, so obviously the TV show has taken a large departure from the books, but that was always to be expected. Because realistically, the only way this story could be adapted was to change. And I'm one of the few people that honestly believes that George R. R. Martin believes that to be true. But, at the end of the day, I do kind of wonder if somewhere deep down there isn't a regret that he didn't get this done. That the people who read the books are now going to be spoiled by the people who saw the TV show. And yeah, I'm one of those people that have done both. But at the end of the day, it just feels so weird. Even things as simple as the wolf and the dragon, the fact that Jon is who he is, was revealed on the TV show before it was revealed in print. And I have a lot of theories that I think will hold true for the book that don't necessarily have to hold true for the TV show. Because at the end of the day, the book is always going to be more in depth. We're always going to be rewarded more for reading the book. But as we get ready for this episode to launch, I have to hope we hit the ground running. Because with only 7 episodes this season, and we don't even have a name for this episode going into it. It's not even on my TV Guide channel. I have to wonder, what is it they're going to do? What sort of surprises? And if you're curious what I thought before this, you can check out my War of the Living vs. the Dead video. Because what I do here is I explore and expand on the idea of how and why we tell stories. And I basically try to pull apart and review and just come up with concepts of storytelling. If that sounds interesting to you, then go on and pull up a chair, subscribe. But for right now, let's get down to nitty gritty and talk about what's going on in tonight's episode. And somehow they made that opening sequence even more badass. I really am surprised. And then they still had enough time to have this weird marching into Winterfell scene. Like, wow, they just, have time to kill in the last 6 episodes. But, alright. After the big knockdown, drag out stuff going on with the White Walkers, knowing Longclaw can kill them, seeing dragons kill them, there is so much we have to hope for. And we start with this slow, everyone getting back together moment. Oh well, I guess before we finish this off, we should probably throw up the spoiler warning, just in case you're watching this without having seen it. So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. So color me unimpressed. Alright, I understand that there's character buildup, and that there are things that we need to work on. But after tonight, there's a handful of episodes left. Even if each one was an hour long, how much can we really cap? How much can we really end? And again, I understand the books are different. The books will be much more in depth. But we spent so much of tonight's episode basically just saying, hey, let's get the gangs back together and let's show where everyone is. Someone on Facebook, one of my friends, posted, I bet we don't see a single White Walker. Well, we saw one white at least. The Umber Boy. And yeah, we had some cool moments, and there were some things that I'm glad we got. But realistically, when you look at it, there was a whole lot of nothing happened. And yeah, scenes from next time show that we're going to deal with Jaime, but we already dealt with so much this week. I'd really like to see the actual story progress. What is going to happen? Alright, we have Sansa and Daenerys don't trust each other and don't like each other. We have Jon being faced with one of the most gut-wrenching choices ever. The person you love, or the responsibility you've been trying to avoid. And I'm not keen on them calling him Aegon, but at the end of the day, there's a lot going on with this. and I wonder what comes next. And, of course, by what comes next, I mean, where's the war? Come on, where's the war? So, we got to see Jon riding a dragon, and that was kind of cool, but that was a special effects scene that did we really need? Especially when you realize the fact that we could have used that money to have a scene later versus the other dragon. And part of me doesn't really so much want Jon to have that dragon as much as I want to see him take the undead dragon away from the Night's King. So, where are we? Well, we have a bunch of powerful characters, we have a bunch of stuff going on, and we have some heart-wrenching moments. We have the fact that Theon's now on his way back to Winterfell, even though his sister is going to retake the Iron Islands. We have whatever's going on with Cersei, and I guess we're introducing the Silence now. The Silence is the name of Aeron's ship, and he was all like, oh, my ship is full of mutes, and in the books that makes a big difference, but so far in the show it hasn't even been mentioned up till now, so I was kind of like, WTF, when that was just haphazardly dropped. And then we have like the whole thing about, Jon and Daenerys are falling in love, and they're playing straight with that, and there were some cool scenes. But realistically, stuff like Tyrion and them talking about them getting married, you'd think that that would come about a little more naturally. It felt very forced. Now, having said that, there were some really great moments. I especially liked anything dealing with Arya. I loved the fact that Arya met up with Gendry and with Jon, both again. I loved her little banter with them. But at the same time, it still felt like it was almost filler in an episode that should have been, like I said, hitting the ground running. And did we even get what's going on with some of the characters? I mean, for a season opener, like it really felt like we didn't really do anything. Now, part of that is that we've been waiting a year and a half, almost 2 years now for the season. And another thing, this horrible winter that's been coming, this snow that was going to be so unbelievable. I live in New England. Can I just say that the winter is actually like a mild winter up here? I mean, last year we had a much worse winter here in the Northeast than we do on Game of Thrones. But okay. I guess that's kind of nitpicky, because at the end of the day, the winter being so harsh that it shuts down travel would have shut down many of these storylines. But that's kind of like what's going on, and even the opening sequence showed the march of the others and the march of winter with everything freezing. But then you get like, oh look, there's like a foot and a half of snow on the ground, and inside Winterfell they've shoveled all of it, so it's not even that bad. And there's still travel, and it just, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to be nitpicky here. So let's take a look at what's going on. They're making obsidian weapons because no one knows how to make Valyrian steel weapons. And what was it that Arya did ask Gendry to make for her? I couldn't quite make it out. Then again, that scene was nowhere near as bad as what was going on with the Night's Watch. That was so dark I couldn't even really see it on my TV screen. Although I did get a pretty good laugh at the, watch out, he has blue eyes. I've always had blue eyes. That was kind of funny. But even then, we're going to ride horses to beat the army of the dead that's in between us and there. Don't you have to ride through the army of the dead to get there then? Like, do you know a way around? I'm kind of confused. All in all, it was a fun episode. There just wasn't a big fist pump moment, and I figured with only 6 episodes total this year, every episode would have that one big, yeah, that's awesome moment. Maybe that was just me hoping too much for it. But I'm curious. Now that we have some idea of what the future of Winterfell looks like, taking a look at where it came from, taking a look at where each of these characters came from, do you think that it makes sense how they turned out? Are there any of them that you think should have come out differently? Are there any of them that you hope will still have enough time to get that little bit of extra growth? Or are you really enjoying where this is taking us? And who do you think is going to be the one to finally put down the Night's King? And what do you think about the whole question that was asked of Jon? You gave up your crown to save your people. Would she do the same? And is that even a fair question? Because is it even the same question, really? Right now, Jon and Daenerys both have a claim to the throne. She's got dragons, he doesn't. He's got the support of at least a good number of people, and she has lesser. But at the end of the day, does it really matter who sits on the throne? Is that really what we're still talking about? The Game of Thrones? Maybe it is. But I'm curious what you think. So put your response down below, and I'll try to get back to you before the end of the video next week. But for right now, I have one last question, too. Are you happy with where Game of Thrones has gone up till now? Overall, how would you rate the series? Love to hear that comment, and even though I may not get that one done this week, that's something I'm going to be asking over and over again. And of course, I need to ask you to do all those things that every other YouTuber does. So, like and share this video, and of course, if you haven't yet, click that subscribe button to join our little community here. I'm going to send a big thank you out to my Patreons. If you'd like to join us, there's a link in the description, because what we're doing here is we're exploring how and why we tell stories. And part of that is to figure out how and why we do lots of things, including what the point of all these years of Game of Thrones are. I hope you have a good night, and thanks for watching.